because you have become the voice for those miserable refugees. They are really miserable because they are living in a very, very difficult situation. They have escaped this, and now they are facing this in a slow motion. So your support is very important and very crucial, very crucial. So we need to support them till they are free. The Australian government is calling them detention camps, but actually they are concentration camps. In all forms and shapes, they are concentration camps. This is a repetition of history. The 19th century concentration camps now are brought in the 20th century, which is a big shame. So we need to point that out, please. As everybody knows, the Australian government actions in Nauru and Manus Island are ruled unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional to bring people and detain them in those isolated islands. So the authorities there, they have ruled out it's unconstitutional, and those people supposed to be freed and brought here in Australia. This is the only way, this is the best solution, and this is the right solution. But unfortunately, the Australian government doesn't want to follow the right thing, because nobody is pushing the government to act correctly. As a refugee myself from Darfur in Western Sudan, I feel very disappointed and alienated as well by these inhuman actions of this government, because it has criminalized being a refugee. So to be a refugee is not a choice. But unfortunately, this government wants to demonstrate that to be a refugee means you have chosen to be a refugee, and nobody chooses to be a refugee. So this is really inhuman action. For instance, my Meji community of Darfur here in Australia has escaped genocide and ethnic cleansing in Sudan. And this genocide is still going on since 2003. As a result of this genocide, more than 300,000 innocent lives were killed. Most of them are children and women. And still the killing is going on. So due to this ongoing genocide, some people have fled and tried to enter Australia as refugees or asylum seekers, whatever you call. But they have been denied entry and being detained as well. I think some of you might have heard about 3 months ago, or 2 months and a half, there was a detainee who died in Manus. Faisal. Faisal is a refugee from Darfur, unfortunately. He escaped his destiny in Sudan, and he faced it here in Manus Island. Not because he died naturally, because he was denied the basics. He was denied treatment. The memory of the days of Faisal Ahmad, whom I took part in his burial in Sydney, still fresh in my memory. And his death story, which occurred in Manus Island concentration camp, to me and to my community here, is a crime against humanity. This is a crime against humanity, guys. And this crime has been committed by the Australian government. Faisal could still be alive. He could still be alive if it wasn't the government which denied him treatment and the basic needs. Faisal is supposed to be given consideration, not only as a refugee from Darfur, but because he is a human being who's supposed to be helped. The negative impact of the Australian government awful policies against refugees is felt and seen even among those from my community who are given bridging visas or temporary visas. Those people are living in anxiety, uncertainty, and constant fear all the time of the unknown. because the government is putting a lot of pressure on them. The Australian government is following protectionist scare policy. This scare policy approach made the government to act and commit barbaric actions against refugees. Those policies lead the government to act against human rights principles. Therefore, all Australians should stand up against those inhuman actions and not allow them to happen in our names or in their names. To conclude, the Australian policies against asylum seekers and refugees have brought a lot of condemnation, anger, criticism around the globe. You know why? Because our government is exporting these troubles for others to be solved, instead of facing them themselves. So instead of solving the refugees issues here in Australia, they're exporting them to outsiders, which is against the law and against human rights laws. Let us put pressure on this insane government and force it to act in a responsible way toward those asylum seekers who are held captive by the Australian government, and for the government to take practical steps. The practical step is to bring them here, guys. There isn't any other solution, because the Australian agreement with America, that agreement has been, I think, cancelled by Trump. So the most practical solution is to bring them here. This is the only way they can be processed and they can check their status. But exporting them to the Pacific Islands, that's not a solution and it's not practical. Thank you very much.